So when I heard that we were going to Oakland, there was one spot that I wanted to go, and this is the spot. We'll be meeting Chef Nite Yun, who is taking us back to the golden years of Cambodia, cooking the food that she grew up eating and sharing it with all of Oakland.
So today we're going to make katil phnom penh, which is like a noodle soup dish, pork belly dish called bahokti.
You saying pork belly is straight to my heart already.
So people like to ask if Cambodian food is similar to Thai or Vietnamese. There's an overlap in ingredients, but the overall flavors and dishes are quite different. We eat a lot of like paste to go with like the fresh ingredients, so there's always like a contrast in texture with like funkiness and like raw veggies. But then it varies too, because you have like the countryside where they do a lot of stews, and if you go to the city, you'll find soups like this. But most of the dishes here is like food that I grew up eating. Nyum Bai translates to eat rice, but it's also a phrase that my mom would say, forcing them to go eat, like, come here, Nyum Bai, now. That's like her way of like making people feel comfortable. It's like through food, so it's like, just come eat. We're gonna make my favorite dish ever. It's like a classic Cambodian dish called bahokti, and it's essential that we use pork belly because you want the fat to be cooked down, and it creates this like, I don't know, really delicious.
Magical.
Yeah. So here's the bahokti. It has like a very funky smell.
So it's a fermented fish paste.
It's fermented fish paste. We use this in a lot of Cambodian cooking. Bahok and then kurung, which you see here, it's like a lemongrass paste. It's two of the most important ingredients when cooking Cambodian food. We want to add the lemongrass, red chili, fish paste.
Oh, it's so fragrant.
Yeah, this is like the winning combination. I grew up in the kitchen with my mom. Lived in a one-bedroom apartment, so I was always in the kitchen, not necessarily wanting to learn how to cook, but because I really didn't have anywhere else to go. So, pork belly. This is tamarind powder. Okay, I'm gonna add some tamarind powder, sugar. Yep, and then you add the coconut milk, some bird-eye chilies. You like spicy food?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna add 2 more. When you cook in Cambodia, you have to go to the store every morning because most homes, like my cousins and grandma, like they didn't have a refrigerator. So every morning we'd wake up like before 6 o'clock, go to the market. Like if we were to cook chicken in Cambodia, we would like kill it that same day. So it was just very fresh. Some cucumbers, carrots, cabbage wedge. Here you have it, bahokti.
Bahokti. What did mom think when you said you're gonna open up a Cambodian restaurant?
She didn't understand what a pop-up was either. And so I tried to explain to her what it was. Well, mom, like you had people come over and sell food from our house. So essentially it's kind of the same thing. So
Wait, sell food from their house?
Yeah, so my mom would actually turn our house into a gambling house, like a saloon. So she can collect tips. She would call people that she knows that would make food from the house to come sell food. There's like the fried chicken lady, and then there's this lady, the papaya lady, where she basically converted her van and turned it into like a papaya salad station.
I'd choose papaya salad over ice cream any day.
So good.
Yeah.
So what we're making is called katil phnom penh. Katil means noodle. And then Phnom Penh is the capital in Cambodia. It's traditionally eaten for breakfast. So if you were to be in the capital, you'll see it in like all corners. So just sit down, order 1 bowl, they'll give you a bowl for like 25 cents, and it's like the best meal ever. So.
There must be a ton of different noodle dishes in Cambodia. Why did you choose this one?
It's like a dish that my mom would make for me and my friends. And this is also the dish that inspired me to start Nyum Bai. Just because like people know so much about ramen and the Vietnamese pho, but no one really knows anything about the Cambodian soup, katil phnom penh. Especially here in the Bay Area, there's so many different types of cuisine, but yet Cambodian food is underrepresented. So the broth usually takes about 6 hours to make, just because you need to extract all like the flavors from the bones and all the other ingredients. So I prefer to use pork neck bones, but sometimes the butcher, they don't have that available. So it looks like this batch is like the feet, the leg, the knuckles. You do want to char the onion till it's like completely black and sticky like this. Drop it in the broth, daikon, and this is pickled radish. And then this is dried calamari.
Okay, nice. Dried squid.
Yep, dried squid. We put fish sauce, sugar, and some salt.
A lot of people don't really know the history of Cambodia, or they have only like certain things that they associate Cambodia with.
If the people know anything about Cambodia, it's like the genocide or the Angkor Wat. But Cambodia has such a beautiful history. During the 50s and 60s, it's a prosperous time in Cambodia where like the music was happening, artists were everywhere. This was also the time where my parents, grew up. That time was taken away from them because of the war. And so in essence, this is like a time capsule of the golden era. So it's an homage to like, their youth.
This is the dish that kind of encompasses what Nyum Bai is.
Basically, yeah.
First taste. That's amazing. That has like all the best things of what a bowl of soup and noodles you want, right? Perfect salty to sweet, even though with all of those different flavors that's coming, it's just like so warming. How can you not want to share this with everybody? Tell me about the area that you visited when you were up there.
So I stayed in the countryside. It was like a village, really, where everyone knows each other. You would have to like bathe outside because there's no actual bathroom. And then you start your day by going to the market. My first visit to Cambodia, I stayed with my grandmother in Battambang. That's the countryside of Cambodia. And she's one badass lady. She was definitely ahead of her time, making trades, loaning people money, collecting interest, and everyone was just scared of her. Like when I would go to the market and then they would say, be careful, give her the best price or her grandma will come out and get you.
Yeah.
I knew that my mom had a really strict upbringing, but I didn't know how strict. I remember this one occasion, probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she literally locked up all the gate, closed the windows, shut the blinds, and locked me in the room so I couldn't go anywhere. That's how strict she was.
Get that hustle from grandma.
Yeah. So this right here is a good example of a classic Cambodian dish. Take a bite of the chili.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
no, you talk about that funk, but it's carried on by the fattiness of the pork. The coconut milk kind of brings everything together.
Right,
You feel you have some type of responsibility about Cambodian cuisine?
I feel like I do because there's not a lot of Cambodian restaurants or a lot of Cambodian chefs, but slowly, like we have first generation, second generation Cambodians that are reconnecting with their roots again through food.
Because in the 50s and 60s, Cambodia was popping, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it was like a cool time. Like if I could go back in time, I would live like during that era.
Right, and just because of the history that followed, a lot of your parents' generation don't talk about those golden years.
It's like forgotten because it was just taken over by something so traumatic. Like my parents would always repress their stories about the genocide. Like my mom's eyes would already get watery every time I bring up the subject. And so a better way for like the younger generations to understand their history or to reconnect with their roots, I feel like they need a safe place to express that. Let's say they bring their parents in and they can bring up the topic over like a meal. Mom, did you eat this when you were young? It's like hopefully the conversation of healing or reconnecting would happen organically just over food. Because once you eat certain flavors, it strikes a certain memory, right? So it's like a segue to start healing.
You put in your soul into this. How do you say cheers in?
Chau moi.
Chau moi.
Chau moi.
Rock and roll. Let's go right now. Oh, okay.
That's okay.
Okay, maybe a couple more years.